Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Ascalise, the inventress. My business is Inventing A to Z. At Inventing A to Z, I work with clients to take their products from concept to fruition, from a napkin idea all the way to the marketplace and everything in between, the right way. If you want to contact me, email me, Lisa at inventingatoz.com. My website, inventingatoz.com. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Ascalise, the inventress. Welcome to my podcast. Hi, everybody. This is Lisa Ascalise, the inventress. Welcome to my podcast. Today, I'm extremely excited to have a guest on who is going to show you something that's 100% up your alley. I know it is. He is the CEO and founder of Blendi. His name is Jonathan Katz, and you're going to be invigorated to move your body and drink healthier foods. Welcome, Jonathan, to my show.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the wonderful intro.
Well, you're the man, Jonathan. You are doing some amazing things. You're a young guy who has invented one specific amazing product. This one product I'm looking at right in front of me makes me want to drink healthier, eat healthier, and it's called Blendi, right?
Yes. That is the name of it, and I hope it does make you live a healthier life. That's the goal.
It looks like it. I mean, I do my juicing and I blend, but this is something I do not have, but that I definitely have in my arsenal. So, Jonathan, I'm going to allow you to give some insight to Blendi. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at some wonderful ways of juicing and super simple. But take it from here, Jonathan. Let's talk about Blendi. What is it, and how and why did you invent it?
Yeah, so Blendi is the true handheld original portable blender. It is founded by me in 2016 in my college dorm of Springfield College. And it basically, I came up with the idea because I was at the gym and I was having a tough workout like usual as a bodybuilder does. And after this workout, I would put protein in a shaker bottle. I would be shaking it up, and of course you go to drink it. And I got a clumpy protein mix, and it didn't fully mix up. And I kind of said, this keeps happening, and I don't want it to happen, quite frankly. I want to replicate my own blending experience, but in my own bottle at the gym. So what can I do? And I brainstormed for a little bit. I went back to my dorm, and I drew a quick Microsoft Paint drawing, basically. And I kind of said, this is what I want it to look like. And this is how it would work. Have stainless steel blades like my at-home blender does. Have a top that opens so you could drink right from it. And I kind of just ran from there. And that's the start of how it all kind of came to be. Immediately after the gym, I went back to my dorm and drew it. So there was no hesitation.
That's extremely innovative of you. Most people probably wouldn't do that. You go back to your dorm, draw it up. Now, were you an engineer? How did you have the mindset to just go back and draw it the way you did?
Yeah, so it's I'm no engineer. I'm no artist either. I hate drawing. I don't like painting, any of that. I'm bad, quite honestly. And I just had this inkling. I'm not sure why to draw it out, but I thought that the best way I knew how to do it was this quick sketch of what it might look like. And I was just a bodybuilder, someone who was into fitness. I was going for my physical therapy degree at Springfield, and then all of a sudden, these two worlds of fitness and this semi-new world of business kind of came and collided together.
So after you did the drawing, you went back and you did the drawing. Did you think that you were actually going to create a product, or were you just thinking, this is something I can ask a company to develop for me, or where was your head? Because if you drew it, obviously you were leaning on the side of developing it.
Yeah, Lisa, to be honest, I think at that moment I just wanted that product. I just wanted one. I wanted for myself, kind of to be selfish with it. And it wasn't until I sent it off to I knew that a simple drawing in Microsoft Paint would not suffice.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I needed an engineer. And don't ask me how I knew that, but I knew it, I suppose. And I basically sent it to, my project to Upwork.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I had so much interest from engineers and such. And it wasn't until one guy actually made a YouTube video for me saying why he wanted to do it, which is flattering for me as a freshman in college. And he designed these 3D CAD drawings for me for about $100.
You're
and they
kidding
were
me.
they were worth way more than $100. And I still have them to this day. I'll forever keep them, and I'll forever keep him, as one of my founders. His name was Jonathan Baxter, and he was in Australia at the time, which is really interesting. So it kind of goes to show you how you could just be in college in the U.S. and talk to someone who's in Australia, and you could make this 3D CAD drawing kind of come to life, which is really cool.
No, that's very impressive. I mean, I'm really intrigued and impressed by you. You're a super smart guy and obviously very, very intuitive because you knew. I mean, you went back to your room, you drew it. Your inner self knew that you were going to put this product on the market. Now, did you research to see if there was any product like that before you started doing the drawing? Or you just went back and just started drawing?
Yeah, so I knew that there was a product out there called ProMix, which I had owned previously. And it was basically just, you take a plastic bottle and then you put plastic stirrers at the bottom. And it didn't do much more than, it barely mixed up milk and protein. So I knew that I wanted to kind of take it to the next level after seeing the success they were having by putting in stainless steel blades. And in the perfect world, to be honest with you, I didn't accomplish it yet, but maybe one day we wanted to make it stainless steel all over instead of plastic.
Right.
Because when I bought the ProMix, and I gave them free press, but when I bought the ProMix, it was $40 and I dropped it and it was just shattered because it was cheap plastic. So
was that electric, Jonathan? Was that an electric mixer or did it just have the?
It was.
It was,
yeah, it was
okay.
An electric one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they also, when you talked about shaking it, just using a hand shaker, they had the little plastic balls on the bottom that you just, remember that? You put your protein shake, well, you probably don't remember.
Yeah. So that's what I started out with.
Okay, like that. Yeah. So then you ordered the ProMix.
That's correct.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, so we've come a long way.
Yes, yeah. We have. The innovation has been, it's been quite the dramatic change.
So at what point, so you did your CAD drawings, you had your guy from Australia, you said, create this thing, and so he made a CAD for you. So after you did the CAD, you said, okay, you know what, I'm doing this. Like, what made you decide that you're going to go out and actually manufacture this product? And I have a lot of questions in between that because there's prototyping, there's testing, there's all of those things that you must have gone through. And I'm sure that you didn't get it right one time and game over. So quadruple question I'm asking. I'm asking you 4 different questions in one. So I'll tell this story in a semi-abbreviated way. I mean, it's a long story, but the next step, and I think it's crucial to talk about the beginnings because everybody can go online and search how to market, and once you have the product, right? But to tell the beginnings of product development such as this, it's important to stop at these steps. And the next logical step I had was, and I kind of got lucky, but I had the wherewithal basically to reach out to my entrepreneurship teacher at Springfield and say, hey, is there do you know of anyone doing programs for entrepreneurship? So I had known accelerators existed barely, and I was like, is there anything out there like that? And they said yes, and it was at an adjacent college called Western New England. It was actually called the 3-Day Startup Program, which is a great program for college students actually, and it's all over the country. And what we had to do is we all pitched our ideas, and then the best 5 were selected, and we all got in groups, right? So my idea was selected. Thank God I had the CAD drawings. I was the most prepared. And every other group actually had 5 to 6 kids in it, college students, and my group only had one other guy. It was an engineer. And I'm not sure why nobody picked me, but only one guy picked me. And isn't that something?
It was interesting. But by the end, he was a mastermind, and we put together this prototype, and it was mainly him. And we took a $15 Walmart blender. We cut the cord on it. So I like to say we cut the cord on traditional blending.
I love it.
And
that's great.
we gutted the bottom of it, so only the motor spinning the blades is there.
Uh-huh.
And then, well, he did this, and then he hooked up a drill battery to the side. He super glued it on, attached the wires to the motor, and so when you're pulling the drill trigger, you were actually spinning the blades. And I have pictures of it, but it was one of the most amazing
I love it.
contraptions I've ever seen. And all credit goes to Pat Vincenti. He's I think he's graduated now, but he was the mastermind behind that.
I love it.
Right? Yeah.
Well, you have to know how it works. I mean, so many inventors have ideas for products that essentially don't work because they don't have the engineering behind it. You may have a vision for something that you think is going to work, but unless the engineering is actually behind it or in front of it and behind it,
Exactly.
it's really not going to work because they're the machine that actually makes it roll.
Yeah, totally. And then to take it a step further, after 3-day startup, now I was pretty engraved into the entrepreneurship community in the Western Mass area. And someone said, oh, you should go to Valley Venture Mentors. And so I applied and I got into the mentorship program. And I got a mentor from Harvard. And it was
wow.
Yes, yeah.
That's quite impressive.
Each company, we had to pitch. That was my first time pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And the process even getting it was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And just to get into a program, competing against people who are 30, 40, 50 with 10, 20 years business experience plus to your junior is kind of like intimidating, to be honest.
Of course.
And I was just lucky enough to get in. I got a Harvard mentor, and we had a great time, and he taught me a lot. And then the next step was, okay, how do we make the next prototype? And then a part of the Valley Venture Mentor community was a person from UMass who was actually running the entrepreneurship center there. And they hooked me up with a senior capstone project that the senior engineers do. And this is where I kind of talk about resourcefulness. Because as a college entrepreneur, you can probably imagine that I don't have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And this is probably single-handedly the best thing that ever happened to me. So basically what happened is for $750, I was able to have 11 different engineers in 2 groups create 2 different prototypes for me. So what that entailed was 2 different prototypes, right? But also the CAD drawings, the research, the studying, all of the info that goes on in a blender, right?
But let me stop you for a second. Let me stop you for a second. So where were these prototypes being made?
In the lab, in the UMass lab.
You're kidding me. So they had all of the tools, the plastic,
UMass is amazing.
Okay.
Yes. I got a chance to look at their center that they use after the fact. Mm-hmm. Their 3D printers they have there are just incredible. I mean, it's a great school, and they've really done a great job, I think, with their entrepreneurship and their engineering.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was very interesting because I know that my prototypes, most of them come from overseas, et cetera, and we're waiting a long time, and they're very, very expensive. But continue. I apologize.
Yeah, no. So that's at UMass. They were a godsend, and this is kind of where I guess I saw myself getting this to market, right? Because I still had doubts, and I still was like, I'm doing this for fun. It's a fun project. And then they created this blender, prototype, which was just, it was exactly what my mind thought of.
How does that feel? How does that feel?
It's really cool because it was a 1.5-year process to get there, but it was like you put my mind into an object, exactly. And it was just really cool to see it in person and not just on paper or in a 3D CAD drawing, right? So they won Best Entrepreneurial Award at the end of the senior capstone projects, and that was awesome. And we beat out another person named Fog Kicker, who actually had gone on to the Today Show after that.
Oh my gosh!
And yeah,
look at you.
They were an amazing product, and the founder is a great guy. His name was Mark Gamble, and so that was awesome. And then going forward, that was pretty much the point where I didn't know what to do after that. I didn't know how to get to manufacturers. I didn't know what was going on. But my aunt luckily connected me with a startup in Beverly Hills, actually, California. And I knew I needed to learn the business side of things.
Yes, very smart.
to understand what goes into making a startup. And these guys, they're called Genexa. They're a homeopathic organic medicine company.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just lucky enough that my aunt had to contact the CEO, and I got to intern directly under him. It was about an 11-person company at the time. And it was the best 3 months experience I could have ever had. Like, it was, I mean, if you want to, we talked earlier about an MBA course full of knowledge. This was a startup MBA course full of knowledge, this 3-month internship I did in Beverly Hills. A Connecticut kid goes to Beverly Hills.
Crazy.
Are you kidding me?
So you have resources falling down upon you, but you also have the tenacity to do it, because it doesn't take, you can have these things fall, but if you're not asking and reaching out for these resources, you're not going to get them. They're not going to fall into your lap. You put in, and you don't even realize you have this, I believe, innate entrepreneurial skill that that pours out of you, and you have, you do. I mean, I hear it in your voice. You're that person. You don't stop. You go after what you want, and
there's no stopping.
That makes all the difference in the world. I mean, you're very successful at what you're doing, and I'm not talking about just monetarily. I mean, you're doing well. You're selling. You're doing other things, but you have a focus and a determination. And that's really spot on. I hear it in your voice, and you're talking about, going to being a part of Capstone and doing all of these things that don't come to you. You go and you go look for them. And then when you stay there, people see, as I said, your tenacity, your tenaciousness, and you're going after something that you really want. You know what I mean? Because if you didn't have that determination, I don't think that people would open the door for you. They see what you have. I mean, you're asked. You reached out. You asked your aunt. She introduced you to Genexa in Beverly Hills, but your aunt wouldn't introduce you unless you asked.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
And the senior capstone doesn't come unless I applied for the accelerator program at Valley Venture Mentors.
That's right. Yeah. So it's not
just when you're competing against 200 people, you have to bring your A game, and preparation was very key to get in there.
And that's what you're doing. You're doing it now, and you don't stop, and that's what it's all about. And I love that you said, you were so excited after a year and a half that you got a prototype, okay? And I say this for a reason, because many inventors out there are listening and going, "Wow, can't believe, looking at this product now online, Blendi, it's a great product. I can't believe he got this product on the market probably so quickly," because that's what people think. Things happen overnight, and they don't. You got a perfect prototype after a year and a half. Just a prototype. And you didn't have a manufacturer.
I know.
So
and to even further your point, I was getting quotes from 3D printers and manufacturers in the U.S. and Massachusetts for upwards of $15,000 to get it done.
Love it. I love that you're saying this. This is so awesome. This is the best interview, I got to tell you, because you're speaking to the inventors out there who, some of them believe that they could do this. You got away very inexpensively in the beginning, I have to tell you.
I did.
In the beginning, because that doesn't happen. And you have, I mean, again, as I said, you stepped out there. You had all of these wonderful resources while you were in college. Now, you went to UMass, or you?
I didn't. No,
you did not.
You did not. I've been so blessed because
you are blessed. Words out of my mouth.
Yeah, all these other colleges, helped me, and they, for no reason. I mean, just out of the kindness of their heart. To just
divine intervention, Jonathan. Yes. It's divine intervention, and your desire.
Exactly. And I think there's something. I don't know. I think maybe me being a college kid, kind of helped, I suppose, a little bit, rather than being 30 or 40, I suppose. But it's about finding these people. It's about being resourceful when you have no resources.
That's correct.
It's about going to this event, meeting this person, talking about your story. Then they introduce you to that person who then can, you know what I mean? And you kind of connect the chain, and then slowly but surely you get along. I
mean, and that's the greatness in you too. I can hear that. and a lot of people don't know that. Many people will give up on one phone call, Jonathan. And I know that you've made more than one phone call. It wasn't just one, it took
Yeah.
many, right? It wasn't one phone call and I got here, one phone call and I did this. And I'm sure that,
Exactly.
if you got a phone number from somebody you didn't call once and say, you know what, they didn't call me back, so this is it, it's over.
No, and that's my dad was, and actually, I'm going to go back a little bit because we're talking a little bit about mentality now,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a kid who used to play video games, and I was really actually overweight. I was 190 at 5'6" in high school, and when I started this health and fitness lifestyle, I was just uber dedicated to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you work on your body and you work on something so hard every day, day in and day out, and you cut your macros and you portion your foods, right? You're almost preparing yourself of a business mentality of like, don't quit,
Yes.
And when I was preparing for my competition in my senior year of high school, my dad unfortunately had passed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I use that. There's two ways I look at that. The people responded to a death in families. They either crumble or they, are just I don't know, something propels them forward. It's very motivating. And I knew my mom might need help because of that. And I saw this business, I guess, as a way also to help contribute one day. I had hoped.
What a blessing you
to
are.
get there.
What a blessing.
And I don't like saying that, I guess, often, but I guess it's important to the mindset and understanding of why I just, why I call multiple times or why I reach out multiple emails and such, because it's just, I need to get it. And I got to help my mom out and I got to do this. I got to get it done.
I love your determination. See, I knew it came from somewhere. It comes from something, but it also comes from good parenting. I'm sure that your parents raised you, obviously they raised you well. You have this mindset that, and this guidance and mentorship that they must have given you in order for you to be this wonderful person that you are.
Yes.
Giving
and
back
my dad
and just
was a hound on the sales line, so
that's great.
He
Yeah.
taught me that for sure.
Yeah, so you had great mentorship, and that means everything. Around you're a very, very positive guy, so clearly you surround yourself with positive people,
You have to.
right?
You have to. Yeah. The first 4 people you see every day or you talk to every day, you become most like.
You are
and if
absolutely
you surround yourself
right.
with negative people, then you ain't gonna get nothing. That's for sure.
That's who you become.
Yep.
You are the language that you speak and the people you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
You are. My grandmother used to say that all the time. You are the people you're a part of, and you just really are. You become those people.
You do, and inevitably conversations spark up. And I've talked with other entrepreneurs before on the phone because it not only does it motivate me, but when you talk through things, you come up with ideas and business plans and marketing ideas, and then who knows, they might even be your next business partner, and you create this amazing business.
You are so right. You are so right. And there's nothing like, how awesome is brainstorming? How
It's amazing.
incredible. How exhilarating is brainstorming?
It's one of the best. I mean, I have a huge whiteboard in this room, and I'm not the best organized when it comes to thoughts because I love just jotting them down immediately, and then the madness just eventually kind of dissipates and gets a little bit more clear. But you have to just get these thoughts out because my brain is just clicking so fast. I just need to churn them out, get them written down. But it's important to have those.
Can you even read your whiteboard when you go back?
No, it's very cluttered sometimes. There's tasks and there's thoughts and there's ideas. It's tough to decipher which is which.
So I have notebooks like that, and I jot down my thoughts, and quickly, because when it comes, it's there, and it's a part of like something that I have to hold on to, whether I'm doing it as a part of an invention or helping another client with an invention that they have that I thought of, and I'm jotting it down real quick. And I could be on a conversation, but I have to write that down, even with my left hand, and I'm a right-handed person. And I go back and I go, wait, what was that? What was that connected to? But I had to get it down on paper. I love that, though. I love your innovation. I love the way you are, and your, as I said, your determination. So let's talk about now, and fast forwarding to, I want you to, you have so many amazing stories, and I want to know how you got there in the middle.
Of
So
course.
tell me how you got. So now we're in the manufacturing phase. You
Yeah.
found a manufacturer.
Yes. Yes. And so the manufacturer, it came basically by just doing a Google search, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just finding the manufacturer who could have the right parts that needed to be done as I was getting guidance from the engineers I was working with at UMass, and just coming up with that whole process of making it sure it looked how I wanted to do. And there's some compromise that you need to go through, of course. But when I placed that first order for 300, I think that's kind of where the manufacturing process starts for me, at least, because when you have all the CAD drawings and such, it's not that hard. You just, you get a mold, and if they have the components there, it's just a matter of configuring it together, and then the outside plastic is the mold, right?
Right.
That's how you do it. So when all that was said and done, I then had this very crucial moment in this company's history, I suppose, and I was about to place my first order for 300. I was in the parking lot of my bank, and I had no money left. After this 300, I was actually going to be out net negative, I think $2,000 or $3,000, to be honest.
Oh my gosh!
And I had a decision to either not do it anymore and quit, or keep going and pull out something out of my hat.
Mm-hmm.
And just earlier that day, actually, it's so crazy. Just earlier that day, I had paid for my college and like my tuition,
Wow.
and just by pure hustle. And I
Good
sold
for
on
you.
eBay,
Oh,
and it was
love it.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. And I called them up. I said, "Hey, can I have that money back?" And they said, "Nope," because I needed that money.
You said, "Can I have that money back?"
Yeah, I said, "Is there any way I can have that back?" I just deposited it. And they said, "No, we can't do that for you." I said, "Okay." So then I had to come up with something. I couldn't get a loan in a day, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to give me a loan in one day. So I called up my friend, and he was an entrepreneur as well. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? It's kind of a big risk. It's a lot of money." He said, "How long have you been working on this?" I said, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Man, this is your life now. Like, this is who you are. You've become this entrepreneur. Like, people know you as the blender guy in Western Mass." He's like, "Why wouldn't you do it? You work so hard." I was like, "Yeah, man, you're right." So I went to the bank. I got out my credit card, and I took a cash advance of about $3,000. And little did I know that 25% immediate interest was going to apply to that. So,
oh my God.
I had $3,000 of hundreds in my
Uh-huh.
hands. I was so embarrassed of taking it out from my bank that I went to another bank
Uh-huh.
to deposit it. And then as I'm going to send the wire, I can't make this up. As I'm going to send the wire, the guy goes, "Oh, you're sending a wire to China. What's it for?" I said, "Oh, product, manufacturing product."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "This could be a scam, right?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we've seen people lose a lot of money. This could be a scam. Are you sure this is what you want to do?" He's like, I was like, "Yeah, here's the bank details." And then so he enters in the bank details. He's like, "Okay, now once I press send, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to lose the money." And I said, he's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I was like, "Yes." Yeah, like, "Can you just please get this done?" So he did. He sent it. And, oh my God. I mean,
That's
what
scary.
an insane day.
That's
Yeah.
very scary.
Yeah.
And you're very brave. And again, you go back to your determination. You're a hustler. You have your hustle on. You grind on. You went to your friend.
Exactly.
You asked for direction, and and he gave you, obviously, told you what to do, or
That's
helped
right.
you out with what to do. That's very
Yeah.
scary. So now, had you gotten a prototype from this company before in China?
Yes, yeah. So we had done 2 or 3 different
Okay, so
prototypes.
you knew.
We tried glass. Glass didn't work. And, I also want to speak about that. Everybody loves glass
Mhm.
until you actually use glass and it drops and breaks, okay?
Yeah, right.
So plastic is, I know it's not the consumer ideal, but until you have some type of protective cover on the glass, your Blendi is probably going to break if you drop it.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
figured I'd throw that in there because the testing for that one was awful. That didn't last long.
So, I mean, I love that you're saying also that you didn't just go out and, give your money to this manufacturer, because people are listening to this, and if you're wiring money to a manufacturer and the bank is saying, are you sure? You've done business with them before. And, typically when you're dealing with a manufacturer, you really have to do your due diligence and make sure this manufacturer, because they're right. I mean, they can.
Yeah.
It just happened with to Barbara Cochran. She sent, I believe, it was $450,000 to a company that she thought it was the company. They sent her an invoice and changed one letter in the email. People hack stuff. My sister's in banking, and she says there's so much fraud out there, and people will do anything to take your money. Especially if you can't find them. You send money overseas, you wire money, you don't see them again. Well, you've never seen them. So you were,
exactly.
you took a risk, and but you did work with them previously. They showed you that they could make the product, and you got your. All right, so you got your. You sent them their $3,000.
Yeah, I mean, it was way more than that. That's all the money I had left, though.
Okay, so all right, right.
Yeah.
So all right, that was just a part of the.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was.
Yep.
And that was a prototype, or this was the manufacturing?
This is 300 coming in.
Okay, so now this was hitting the button. This is it.
Yeah, this is go time. Yeah.
Oh, this is go time.
So,
oh my gosh, you must have been sweating.
Before that, we were just sending PayPal, in payments. I was
Sure.
paying them via PayPal. So a wire was just so foreign to me. I was like, what is this? Why can't we just do PayPal?
Yeah.
And that's why it was sketchy. I was like, wait, why aren't we doing PayPal? They're like, no, you need to send a bank wire.
Well, big money like that, you really do need. But you have to really, the thing is, but the banks can watch. I mean, I wire money all the time to China and India and all these places. And they will follow your money for 48 hours to make sure that the other side is the right recipient. They do their due diligence. Believe me, they check them out.
Yes, yeah.
They do.
For sure.
And if within 24, 48 hours, you can get your money back if something's not right, because you're insured.
Oh.
You're bank insured.
I didn't know that, actually. Wow.
Yeah, they insure your money.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The more you know.
The more,
That's awesome
it's
to
important.
know.
It's important. And you have those conversations with your banker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's TD Bank, so I don't know how I don't know how customized they would get with business. I don't think much, but
yeah, but
you know what? Actually, I gotta give them credit, because the local TD Bank in Boston bought 10 Blendis from me. So shout out to that.
Oh, good for them!
As a gift. Yeah, Christmas gifts. So that was awesome.
Good for you. Good for you.
I was slinging Blendis when I was working full time. It was funny. I had them on my back. They're like, everybody's like, oh, what are these? I'm like, oh, nothing. These are just Christmas presents. I was like, Santa.
I love it. Yeah, see, you have Damon John's story. You have them in your trunk everywhere you go.
Yep. Oh, isn't that? Yeah, I mean, I can tell multiple stories about that. That's for sure.
No.
There was one summer. So, okay, actually, this if you want me to continue a story, this is actually a pretty good.
Yeah,
segue.
go right ahead.
But so first of all, I had to get this money, this $3,000, and what I did was I started the Indiegogo campaign. I had tried to get on Kickstarter, and I just thought it was too much, because if you don't hit the limit, then they take the money back. And it was just a mess. I didn't want to deal with that. Indiegogo is not as secure. There's a lot of ripoffs on there. But I knew it was a good place to just get some quick money without even a website. I didn't have a website at the time. So I started an Indiegogo campaign. I raised about $2,000 from just Springfield people and friends, which is awesome. Those are some of my earliest supporters, which I'll always love them for. And then we got the website going, and that was good. So then I started doing orders on there. And eventually I came up with 3,000. It took me about a month and a half to come up with the 3,000, but boy, oh boy, did I ever work.
So wait, let me stop you right there for a second.
Yeah.
So Indiegogo, because people are listening and asking questions, right? So
Yes.
So Indiegogo, is this it's a Kickstarter campaign. Do you have to give? It's a fundraising campaign.
It's a fundraising, yes. Yeah.
So do you have to give the money back, for the listeners out there? Do you have to give the money back when it comes to Indiegogo, or are they just helping you out?
You don't.
So they just help you.
Yeah, they're just helping you, and obviously I was guaranteeing them a product by the end of this. So
all of the people who helped you, whether they gave $10 or $100, you would give them a blend.
So I made it so I don't remember specifics, but I think I made it so that they had to give $50 at least.
They had to give $50 in order
Blendi.
to get a Blendi.
Yes, yeah, at least.
So
I think that's what the deal was.
So for the
Yeah.
listeners who are just listening for the first time, it's my privilege and just so happy to have you on, Jonathan Katz, President, CEO, and founder of Blendi. So keep on going, because when people hop on
Yeah.
for the first time, they're listening and they're going, "Who's this? Who does she have on? Who's on the show?"
Yeah, sure. So obviously fairly successful Indiegogo campaign.
Mhm.
Nothing like I've talked with people who had done 100,000 Kickstarter campaigns, but they also had some funding. So I was doing it self-funded, just friends and family. All I needed was 3,000. I didn't care that much.
Mhm.
So going forward, it was the summer of 2018. Yes, yep. And I was working actually on campus, and I'll never forget because the first 300 came in to my college. No one's on campus. It's like just me and essential workers.
Gosh.
So it was pretty crazy because when you get in shipments, not only is the logistics very expensive to ship,
Yes.
but I had no idea what it meant by shipping by sea. They just told me, oh, it's going to ship by sea to this address. I was like, what? Well, so I was like, how does it end up at me,
Yes.
Well, I guess it goes to Boston Harbor or wherever it is.
Right.
And it gets, picked up by UPS.
The nearest
and then it
port.
gets sent to your address. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or DHL, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was there were so many boxes that they just left them outside on the dock, like on the shipping dock at my college. So they were open for anyone to take, and luckily no one took them. I picked them up in my car, and my car had just enough space. And when I mean just enough, I had pictures to prove it. And I had 20 boxes, I think it was, in my car. And
these are giant. They're not. These are.
Yeah.
You're talking about when you talk about a box, because this is 300.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is 300 units, individual units, and each individual unit
Yep.
was in a box. Was that?
Yep.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So were you driving a pickup?
Box.
Oh my
no,
God.
I had my Nissan Rogue, my SUV.
And you know what? You would have opened up those cases and started taking them out individually if you had to make them fit.
Yeah,
I know that.
What is this?
Right?
Yeah, they would have thought it was wine, judging by the packaging.
Right.
So, and who knows? Maybe they would have taken it even more so. I'm not sure. But I got back to my dorm and I was unloading them all by myself, packaged them into my dorm. And then my best friend who I was living with at the time, because we both worked in res life, we were both RAs, and being RAs for the summer, he took this, like, one of the most iconic photos of me. And it was just the coolest photo because I was wearing my Blendi shirt, and it was the first time, and this is like the inventor's dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
I crack open the box, and I took out a package. I was like, wow, this is it. Like,
how awesome.
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
In the making.
Oh.
And my friend was like, I need to capture this moment. So I lifted it up. I pointed, the thing to the camera as I'm holding it out. And he took the photo of me with all the boxes in the background we had stacked up. And it was just a moment of pure bliss.
You got to send that to me, Jonathan.
I will.
Please do.
For sure.
That's incredible. What a great story.
And then, it gets a little hard, right? So it's you have the Indiegogo people, you have the website people, and there were a lot of orders. Trust me, there were a lot. There was about, I think, 50 to 100, if not more, which was just a blessing, And I think what's important to all you inventors out there who are listening, or soon-to-be inventors, or aspiring inventors, whatever it may be, the journey and telling the tale of getting here during it is one of the most important things to do. And I got away from that after I got the Blendis, but now I'm doing it again. I started up a Blendi Biz weekly show where I talk about exactly what's going on with full transparency. So we're talking bad, we're talking good, we're talking finances on it. And what I did during this whole journey is I would talk to my friends, my family. I'd be like, yes, I'm creating this, and I was ashamed at first, but then once it started getting bigger, I was talking more about it. And people probably thought I was an egomaniac, you know what I mean? By me talking about my baby, and it's a blender, like, what is this kid up to, So, but what this led to is people ordering. People love the story. They love hearing it.
You know what?
And
It's all about the story, Jonathan. I tell every
it
single one
is.
of my clients, my inventors, and I feel the same way. In the beginning, my journey many years ago, I felt like I
Yeah.
was bragging if I talked too much. I mean, now I don't.
Yeah.
Now I just tell them who I am and what I got and what my clients have, and I keep on talking.
Yeah.
And people love to hear the story. They love
They
hearing the
do.
story about how you got here. It's all about the
Exactly.
journey, as you're saying. It's all about the journey and jotting
Yeah.
everything down and journaling every single part of your business.
Yep.
I love that you have the pictures to show what you've done, and there's nothing like it. It's a lot of work, and you really have your head in the game. If your
You
head
do.
is not in it, this is a journey that you
Yep.
definitely need to not be on, because
It's
it
gonna.
takes
It'll
a
be daunting for sure.
it is daunting, but you
Yeah.
have to, gotta love it.
You do.
You
Yeah.
gotta be in it to be a part of it and win it. And
And yeah.
go ahead.
No, well, I was gonna say, as an inventor, this is your baby. If you don't love it, then there's a problem.
Yeah. You don't just, and you know what? You don't invent a product to become rich. A lot of people,
No, exactly.
yeah, you don't invent it because you think you're going to become a millionaire overnight. That just doesn't happen. You have to put in
No.
the work, put in the hard work, put in the time, and nothing happens overnight.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
now, fast forward. You are now,
Sure.
with all of
Yeah.
you started out with 300 units. You're
I
now
did.
in several retail stores and selling
Yeah.
it online and selling. You're moving your inventory. You're moving your product
Yeah.
that you invented. You're marketing it, and that's important. And what are your social media platforms?
Yeah, sure. So my personal Instagram is JONKATZ, John Katz 96, which is my birth year, and the social media for Blendi is I usually do Instagram. That's the best way, I think, and that's Blendi Blender, and so it's BLENDI Blender, and those are how you can contact me, or if you want to order one, then God bless you, order one, and yeah, that's where you can contact me. But to continue the story. This was that first time I saw a product was when my baby was basically created.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was when it came to life for all its glory. And the next thing was, okay, how do we know this will sell other than friends and family? And
Right.
we got in touch of Modern. I'll never forget. I have no idea how they reached out to me, how they found me, but we got in touch of Modern, and they did a 5-day flash sale site. And they sold 200 products because that's all I had after that in 4 days.
In 4 days.
Yeah, so I'll never forget that I woke up. This is during, I'm in college. This is December of 2018. And this is my this is my senior year. Yeah, this is my senior year in college. And I wake up one day and I'm like, whoa, I'm like 65 sold overnight. You got to be joking.
Wow.
And then I went to class. Then I clicked refresh, 120. What? Then the third day, 180. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? I'm watching the sales tick up and up and up, and I'm like, this is nuts. And we sold out of 200. It was an amazing day.
Oh my God.
One of the best 4-day experiences I could ever have imagined. And that's basically when I knew that this is a legit business, and I could really scale this and grow it for sure.
Wow, what an incredible story. So then,
Yeah.
and this was on Touch of Modern. So this was
Correct.
okay. So you were warehousing it in your dorm. So what did you do? Or
Yes.
did they have? So you then had to fulfill these orders.
Yeah.
You had to ship. You had to ship the merchandise. And you were in college, you were in class, you were in your dorm.
Yeah.
While
nuts.
making.
I mean, it was just insane.
Making this happen.
Mm-hmm. I remember. So Touch of Modern is a really cool platform, but they pay for shipping, thank God. So with 200. And I actually have a bad story after this. So with 200, they ship you the label, or they give you a label to print off, and you just slap it right on the box, and then you ship it out. So it's very easy. They make it super, there's no real work associated. But this is the problem. Okay, this is the biggest problem I've ever made for myself. I overcounted my inventory by 100 units.
Oh no!
And I only had 100 units.
Oh no!
So you take that number and you cut it in half. And not only do you have a half number, but you also have a very angry company and buyer who never wants to work with you again.
Yeah.
So that was a big mistake.
So was it on back order?
Yeah.
So you were fulfilling these orders. So you were down 100 units. So how quickly could you could not turn that around? You call the manufacturer or email the manufacturer and replace.
Yeah. So I think what happened, I don't remember specifically, but all I remember is that I either had an order coming in at the time that was happening, or I was just about to order another round by then. So I had another round coming in about 30 days. And I think I struck up some deal where they reached out to their customers and they basically gave me $10 less per Blendi sold than they would have. And I broke even, if not lost money, I think. But, it was worth, I guess, saving the relationship, if at all.
Yes. So, yes. Well, you made good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's an important part, is you make good. If someone helps you out, see if you can help them out.
Right.
If someone gave you advice, see if you can give them a free Blendi. Just like we got connected because of Kevin, Kevin Lane and Lori, and as a thank you, I gave them a Blendi just because God bless them. They're such nice people. So
that's
Create a Castle.
They are the best people in the world. Kevin Lane, Lori Lane, their family, Create a Castle, and I thank him so much for introducing me to you because you really were the highlight of my day today. I got to tell you. I love you're a young guy and you're a mover and a shaker, and I love that. I love to see it in young people, and that you've given a lot of advice to the listeners, and I keep directing you to those listeners because the listeners out there are inventors and entrepreneurs, and many of them, again, watch Shark Tank, they think things happen overnight. The first thing people ask me when they come to me for my advice in building a product is how long it's going to take. So they come to me with a napkin idea, many of them. And a napkin idea, go through the, rundown of different details about the product. And the first question is, okay, now how long is it going to take? I love the laughter too. And I love your year and a half. Yeah. I love your year and a half for a prototype that came back right without even having a manufacturer. A year and a half. And that's
incredible.
Yeah, it really is, and that's what people need to hear. Because when
I was so I think there's a blissfulness in being naive because I was so naive,
Would you have done it? Would you have done it again? All of the things.
So I would say yes, actually, because so it's interesting, right? As my other passion is finance, I look at things from a financial perspective in terms of time value of money. Let's say, how many hours am I going to do sales emails versus the payoff, right? Mm-hmm. I never even had that mindset back then, but this inventor game and inventing a product not only has return on investment, but people don't realize that you're building your resume. You're building your brand. Mm-hmm. You get exposed to people that you wouldn't have already, have never contacted with. So you have more contacts. And then, at 23, I know that Western Mass is like my home. Like, I can go back there and I can call up any contact I want from college, from doing this, and just strike up a conversation and have lunch with them, And not only does that happen, but you also have their resume. So, let's say, God forbid, that we need to get a job or something, then I have all these tangible, specific, pinpointed things I've done that can help that company and survive to my next invention, to my next company. And that's it. Like that, those are the best things, I think. And just
they are
from doing this.
It's the people you meet along the way, along your journey, and just holding on to those connections too. Never burning bridges.
That's the toughest part.
Yeah, holding on though. You really have to reach back and email them, call them, remember them, tell them that you're thinking of them, and thank them for where you are now, because they're a part of your journey.
Yeah, totally. I agree 100%. And so I guess to continue the story, I mean, now we just had our best month ever, so it's awesome that we're talking today, Lisa, and Touch of Modern, we're now back on Touch of Modern again. So I salvaged the relationship, and in fact, they came back to me. it came back to me. Oh, geez. I think now 6 months ago, and they said, hey, I'm a new buyer. I saw you used to have a relationship with us. Are you good now with inventory? I said, haha, yes, I am.
Yay.
You know.
That warms my heart, Jonathan. That's incredible. You're back in. Go ahead.
I'm back in, and you know, at that point, quite honestly, I was working a job at Datadog, and I was going all in at that job, learning sales, and I knew I needed to learn sales to get Blendi, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember telling my friend Ben Levitt, who had me on his podcast. He's another great entrepreneurial friend of mine in Canada, actually. And this is what I'm talking about. People that you meet just by doing one podcast. I met him, and now he's my best friend, right? But what I told him back when I was working at Datadog is like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't have much time to put into this. You know, I'm tired all the time. I'm this, I'm that. And then Touch of Modern again comes back. You know, like by the grace of God, right? It's like the shining light.
That's right.
And now I'm back in it. And now we just had our best month in May, so it's really cool.
God bless you. God bless you.
It's amazing, but like I told you before, it's all about momentum, and it's doing the one thing a day. It's emailing maybe a retailer to get your product in a day. It's reaching out to a podcast to do a podcast, or to reach out to a news outlet to feature your story, right?
Yes.
It's just doing these minute things, but you know, if you can do, like, let's say you have a list to do. If you can get 3 things that are important and critical done for that day, I like to say you win the day. You do win. And it just keeps, and if you can get multiple wins every week, if you can get 5, 6 wins out of the week, and you're just churning along throughout the year, you keep seeing W's on your calendar, then you're going to be a very effective person, and your business is going to grow, and your own confidence is going to grow, and you're going to be awesome. You're going to be an entrepreneur, you know, that's cannot be fought against. You're going to be amazing. Never. Yeah.
You're a giant. You are so big, Jonathan. You know, and I like that you said your age. I didn't want to say it, but you're only 23 years old, right?
Yes. You're turning 24 in July, so semi-soon 24.
You are 23. And you are a great entrepreneur, a great motivational speaker. You're an inspiration. You're an inspiration to all of the listeners out there who are listening to this incredible story. You know, I love it. I love that you started from the beginning, and there's so much more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so much more to talk about. And I'm definitely going to have you back on the show again. Because you're brilliant, you're fascinating, you're energetic, and it takes that, you know, and you can't, momentum, like you said, momentum is key. You can't stop, don't stop, can't stop, don't stop, and should never stop. When you're building a business, a product, you have an invention, an idea, it's yours. You can't just count on somebody else to just do all of the things for you, because you stayed in the loop. You know, I very quickly have to say, segue just a second. Someone said to me the other day, well, you're my agent, and you bring my products to QVC and all that, so maybe I should stop doing shows. I said, what? You got a product to sell. You know, it's put all of the tentacles out there, like you've done.
Exactly.
Put all, like you just said. You call different people about, you know, getting on their podcast. You know, God bless Kevin and Lori. I got to reach out to them after this podcast and thank them for sending you to or you know, connecting with them and then sending you to our podcast, because you are a blessing that you do these things, and what a message that you're giving again to the listeners out there. This is such a wonderful and positive message, and can't wait again to have you back on our show. So again, let's talk about your website and how people can get in touch with you and purchase your product. One more time, Jonathan.
For sure. Yeah. So thank you, Lisa, and your energy through your questions led to my energy. So not only are you a good host, but you're also a very energetic and happy person.
Oh, thank you.
Just as I am. So credit to you as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. And so, yeah, if you want to get in contact with me, again, my personal social, if you have any questions, you know, further, I'd be happy to answer. Even a phone call if you want. You know, if you really want to get on the phone call, that's for sure we can. Just hit up on Instagram, JonKatz96, JONKATZ96. And then if you want to buy a Blendi, you can go to blendyblender.com. or you can go to the Instagram, which is Blendi Blender. And yeah, and I figured it'd be fair to mention, as this is important now, I created my own personal brand, which I don't use too much, but my motto that I live by is attack each day. And it comes from this quote that Jim Harbaugh, actually the head coach of Michigan football, he says, attack each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. And I just love that quote. And I think you really have to attack this every day.
I love it.
So
I love it.
If I can leave off with that note, then attack each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind, and you will do great things.
That is wonderful, and we're going to live by that quote 100%. But before you go, I have, Brittany would kill me if I didn't ask you these 3 questions. These are trick questions in the end. Okay, so questions, not unrelated to this conversation, but kind of at the same time. So if you were to write a movie, what would the name of the movie be?
The Blender Kid.
Love it. Okay, cool. Who would play you?
Top of my mind.
I love it. Okay, so who would play you? What star that we all know would play you in the movie?
Yeah, it's a good question. The guy, who's that guy? Josh something from the Hunger Games.
I don't know his name. I'm terrible with names. I see his face. I don't know. Okay, yeah, him.
Yeah, because I'm semi small. I'm about 5'6", 5'7", and he is the same. So probably him.
Okay, last question. So if you were to be, if you were in a foxhole, and you could only have one person in there with you, unrelated to you, no relatives, who would that be?
Oh boy, I actually have 2 because I feel like during quarantine I've really taken inspiration from 2 people. And one is Kobe Bryant. I was never a Kobe Bryant fan, but I really got into his story after he passed away, unfortunately.
Yes.
And the way he kind of embodies that attack each day enthusiasm.
He does.
And
he did.
He just had an absolute will to win and to be the best.
He did. God bless.
And yeah, God, I know it's very tragic.
Right. Yes.
So if postmortem, I would pick him, but I also have fallen in love with the Barstool Sports story and Dave Portnoy, and so I'd probably choose him right now since he's still here.
Right.
The way he tells a story is transparent and is so brutally honest is absolutely amazing, and it shows just how big of a brand as they just sold for I don't know, like $400 million in January to Penn Gaming. And, he was in Milton, Mass, right, like 20 minutes away from here. I actually visited the Barstool Sports old HQ about 2-3 times to get some motivation. Really? As a weird note, yeah. And I just, it kind of made me feel connected, I suppose. But
I love it.
Yeah, I love the story, and I suggest you check out their story too, because he did that for 14 years. And it took him 16 years to sell that company for $400 million. I love it. And it just is amazing.
See? All in time. All in God's time, right?
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Well, you are brilliant. You're spectacular. Just love having you on the show. And you're going to be a regular, I tell you that.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
Got great things to share.
I appreciate that.
Well, listen, thanks again for being on our show, on the Adventures Podcast. Please make sure you share, spread the word, and we'll certainly share your story with everyone. And we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
All right.
Great. All right, Lisa, thank you so much.
Jonathan, thank you, and you're welcome. Have a blessed evening.
You too.
You take care. Bye-bye. So that was Jonathan Katz. Incredible interview. Just love. And he will be a regular on the show. That's a no-brainer. He's 23 years old and so full of inspiration and knowledge. I love it. Really inspired me today. So everybody, listen. That's an inventor, an entrepreneur. You guys out there listening, if you want to find out how to get on the show and tell your story, because I love sharing stories about people who are we could be starting out, inventor, entrepreneur, both, or none of the above. You just have a great story and you want to get on my show, email me, info@inventingatoz.com. The website, inventingatoz.com. and that's to get on the Inventors podcast. So listen, what you've got to do in order to be successful is reach out and help somebody else, right? So that means lifting each other up, 2 hands at a time. And until next time, guys, peace.